Well, members of General Committee, I'm going to call our meeting to order. This meeting is being held in person and electronically in accordance with the Municipal Act. I'd like to welcome back our student mayor, Sarah, representing Steele Street Public Elementary School to tonight's meeting. Sarah, welcome again. And it's good to see you after the break there. We're going to move into the consent agenda, the first item. And for consent items, I'll read out the title associated with the recommended motions printed on the agenda. Members of General Committee may ask that an item be held to discuss it further. If an item isn't held, the motion is deemed to be approved on consent, and no further discussion of that item will take place at the General Committee meeting, and the recommended motions will go forward to City Council for consideration. CCS 002-2026. This is the Victoria Village Loan Guarantee Request.
Hold, please.
Thank you, Councillor, for holding that. And I will at this point declare a conflict of interest with relation to Victoria Village, as my mother is a resident, thank you, of Victoria Village, and I think it's better that I don't engage in any debate on that subject. Madam Clerk, can you confirm that my conflict has been noted?
Yes, Mayor Nuttall, it has been.
Thank you so much. Next is CCS 001-2026. This is a confidential personal information matter for the Barrie Public Library Board appointment.
Hold, please.
That's held by Deputy Mayor Thompson. DEV-002-2026, zoning bylaw amendment 1080 Lockhart Road. And that's approved on consent. DEV-003-2026, zoning bylaw amendment 89 Big Bay Point Road. That's approved on consent. DEV-004-2026, the zoning bylaw amendment 797 and 989 Mapleview Drive East. That's approved on consent. Okay, so that's all of the consent items have been gone through. There was 2 items that were held from the consent agenda. The first item is the Victoria Village Loan Guarantee Request. We're going to deal with that shortly. And I do want to, before we go in camera to deal with the appointment for the Barrie Public Library, I'd rather get through the inquiries and announcements before we do that, because if anyone's watching, we'll probably lose them at that point. So I'll give up the chair now to the Deputy Mayor with relation to Vic Village, and Eric will come and get me when the debate has concluded on the subject. And when I come back, we'll go right into inquiries and to announcements. And once we've completed the inquiries and announcements, we'll break out into in-camera. Is everyone okay with that around the table? Perfect. Okay. Do I need to declare it again, Madam Clerk, or am I good?
You are good.
Thank you. Take my mint with me. Take my...
Thank you. Madam Clerk, the Mayor's pecuniary interest, or conflict, sorry, has been noted.
Yes, Deputy Mayor Thompson.
Perfect. Councillor Nixon, you held the item?
Yes, I have an amendment to propose.
Perfect. Can you just put the motion on the floor?
Yes. Okay. The amendment reads as follows regarding Victoria Village, that the Deputy Mayor and City Clerk be authorized to execute an agreement with Victoria Village for the purposes of a loan guarantee of up to $6,604,653 with TD Bank with a term ending March 31st, 2031, in a form acceptable to the Director of Legal Services and General Manager of Community and Corporate Services, subject to the following parameters. 1, terms and conditions deemed appropriate by the Director of Finance and Director of Legal Services. 2, Victoria Village be required to provide quarterly reports to the Director of Finance no later than the 30th of the month following the end of each quarter, detailing their progress in meeting the requirements set out in the agreements and guarantee. 3, Victoria Village be required to provide written confirmation from the TD Bank or another financial institution no later than 6 months prior to the expiry of the guarantee that the city will no longer be required to provide a guarantee for their subsequent long-term financing. And 4, the Deputy Mayor and City Clerk be authorized to execute any other documents that are requisite to this agreement, including but not limited to the loan guarantee. And I can speak on this.
Just for the record, can you just put the motion on the floor as printed?
And I'd like to put the motion on the floor as printed.
Thank you.
Okay. Victoria Village, as everyone knows, is a long-term care facility that has been providing care and service to residents of Barrie for many, many, many years, and is vital to the care and support required. I think anything we can do to assist them in getting their necessary financing is something we really need to do. I think that the fact that it's going to save them a fortune in interest by having our guarantee in place will help them meet their goals, and I believe that it'll speed up the expansion of the facility, which is definitely required. The possibility of default is somewhere between slim and none, and it's a very solid organization, and I think it's our responsibility to support them in any way we can.
Perfect. Just before I go to members of committee, maybe just the opportunity through acting CAO, Ms. Reed, to finance through you. I'm under the impression that some of the information missing from the report was received. So just so when questions are asked that we're dealing with all the information in front of us. So maybe giving staff the opportunity just to provide general committee with the information prior to any questions or inquiries of the amendment.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Thompson. I would defer to Colleen or Jeff to respond to that.
Through you, Deputy Mayor Thompson, yes, we have received basically all of the information that requested, a few small items that we did not receive, but nothing that would materially affect the decision.
Perfect. Thank you for that. I'll open the floor. Any member of General Committee with a question, or Councillor Reba?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm very much supportive of this amendment as well, and I think one of the things that I'm very pleased about is that we've added the requirement for transparency so that we get their financial results regularly, so that we can see what's going on as well. Not that I have any issues with or expect that there will be a problem, but I think from a public perspective, I think we need to have that information on a regular basis. So I'm pleased with it. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Any other members? Councillor Corser.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the council member for bringing the motion forward. It makes me feel so much better because I was actually not supportive of this evening because we did not have the documentation that was requested, but I understand that we've received what's necessary. Me, it's an awkward position because I've always been an advocate for seniors. So I wasn't comfortable actually turning this down, but I feel that the motion, the amendment put forward puts like good guardrails on this, and I agree with what's been put in. As long as we have all the information and the guardrails in place, I'll support this.
Thank you, Councillor Corser. I now have Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Thompson. Through you to the mover of the motion. So the second point refers to being required to provide quarterly reports to the Director of Finance. What quarterly reports are you referring to? Should they be financial quarterly reports? Because it doesn't get that specific, so I'm just looking for some clarity.
Yeah, financial quarterly reports, yeah. Profit and loss. Balance sheet.
So just through you to staff for a follow-up. Would that be your intent to have them reporting as often as quarterly when it comes to financials? I just want some clarity on that, just because it's not as specific using the word financial reports. And Rick, I mean, reports could mean one of many things.
Through you, Deputy Mayor Thompson, to Councillor Harvey, that is the intent, is that we will be seeking quarterly financial reports from Vic Village so staff can analyze and report back to council if the need arises.
Thank you for that. I don't know if the mover wants to take a friendly and at least add the word financial in front of that, just to provide a little bit more clarity.
Yeah, thank you for that. Absolutely. I'd like to add the word financial. Do we need to amend the amendment, or can we just add the word?
I believe with the discussion, the clerk can add that in as a friendly. Councillor Harvey, you still have the floor.
I'm good, thank you. I was satisfied as originally. I shared some concerns. I know that Councillor Corser just raised, but through some further discussions with staff earlier today, those concerns were no longer concerns. So I will support this.
Perfect. Anybody else? Seeing no more comments, I'll call a vote on the amendment. All in favor? Carries. On the motion as amended? All in favor? Carries.
You're welcome. Deputy Mayor. Okay, so Deputy Mayor, you held the in-camera item as the only other thing held. We're going to move into inquiries and announcements. I'm going to start with Councillor Kungle, then go to Councillor Nixon. Any other inquiries around the table before we? No? Okay. So Councillor Kungle, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Nettle. My inquiry will start with a compliment. And one is thank you to staff across all departments that actually hosted the information town hall in the rotunda with respects to the boundary adjustments. So in particular, I know that there was a lot of planning. I'm getting great feedback around that. And so my inquiry is, and there's been a lot of really lovely communication, and also very impressive to see some departments actually customizing information for that event. So I know I'll be using that in my Ward 3 town hall as we move forward. But through you, Ms. Oakley, and or if more appropriate through you, Ms. James Reed, on a communications while we have the floor, if residents had kind of missed that opportunity, is there a good space we should be pointing them in the direction, or anything else forthcoming around that?
Through you, Mayor Nettle, to Councillor Kungle. Yes, the city has a website, barrie.ca/boundary expansion, with all kinds of great information and some frequently asked questions. And if folks can't find what they're looking for, then I would encourage them to email welcome@barrie.ca, and we will connect them with whoever they need to get their required information.
Thank you, Councillor Kungle, and Councillor Nixon.
Thank you. Through you, Marinol. I have two. My first one is directed to Ms. Mack. It's regarding the rollout of the automated bins, which I believe, and I think all will agree, that has been a great success. To probably 98% of the city of Barrie has had very few issues. We have had some issues downtown, and I've obviously received several emails, and I've received many from people outside the ward, but because it's downtown, they direct them to me, or they're forwarded to me. So for the benefit of, and I know you and I have spoken, but for the benefit of the rest of council, and perhaps those tuning in from home, I was wondering if you could explain or just clarify some of the challenges that you have faced downtown, and especially in the Dunlop Street sector and some of the things that we're looking at to rectify.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councillor Nixon, thank you for this question. And let me start by saying that, and it's no surprise that the BIA is our most challenging area of the city to collect waste in. We are, and I'm really happy to say, I think that we're doing really well down there. Automated collection is really challenging in such a dense urban area. And we have just over 185 properties registered for service, which is just about 80%. And really building on the relationship, like with businesses, with property owners who, have questions about servicing. We have dedicated staff down there working, a couple days a week down there having a look at how the carts themselves are performing. So that's really a little bit of an update on the system. So the challenges. And, if I could start by saying we see it, back to having dedicated staff down there to the BIA program. And I wanted to relay tonight that there should be no loose bagged garbage along the streets of the BIA. So if we're seeing black bag garbage, that is illegal dumping. So I know illegal dumping, sometimes we think of the mattresses and the furniture and things like that. We actually don't want to see any of those bags brought out by businesses set at the public space receptacles. So that is actually something that we are working on. And I know we had a great session at the downtown BIA AGM talking about that, talking about the success of the carts, but some of the challenges. So maybe the first key message to take back this evening is if we are seeing businesses that aren't registered or properties that aren't registered, confusion over where waste goes, we're here to help with that, to get properties registered, that remaining 20%. Another challenge that we are having is with the public receptacles themselves, and that is something that we're looking at. So looking now at solutions, because the question, I believe, focused more on the solutions. I think for us as a waste team now, we've kind of entered the second phase. So we had the rollout of the carts, and now we're really going to work on shining up the system, working collaboratively with enforcement services on bringing those properties into compliance. So, if there are tenants that are dropping those bags of garbage downtown, those are really what we're going to be looking at to bring, everybody on board to the new system. Looking at things like locks, are those going to help some of the carts downtown? We've had success with one property business owner down there working on locking the carts. So is there tools like that? And I think a third piece of that for our team going forward is looking at the public space receptacles. Are they performing well? Are they serviceable during extreme periods of snow? Because I know, even things like the doors, opening and being able to close properly. So that's all on our radar. And, again, we're here at waste@barrie.ca for questions of, property owners, business owners downtown that might have questions about the new program.
Thank you. I'm assuming one of the big challenges too, as far as like enforcement getting involved and fines, and it is illegal dumping, but it's who do you fine? Like, is it the owner? Is it the owner of the property closest to the garbage? Because a lot of people are going to just bring it downstairs and walk a few stores down or whatnot and dump it off. So that's got to be a huge challenge. And I don't know how, how we would deal with that.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall. That's a great question. And I would say this, is that I really want to start to focus on a property owner responsibility system within the BIA. And it really gets down to what we, call ownership of waste. So we know that, a single family property outside of the BIA are really going to take care of how they look after their waste. There's ownership of waste. It's at the end of your driveway. We know who to come to if it's not set out correctly. It's getting to an ownership of waste, and how do we encourage that within the BIA? and the tool is really the cards and the registration program. So the cards are all assigned to different properties. We know who they belong to. We can look at compliance that way. It is those loose bags of garbage and the dumping. But I got to tell you that having a team down there, we know a lot more than we did before we rolled out the cards. And we know that there's some areas strategically that we need to look at, particularly in, we have actually the BIA divided into zones, and I can tell you that there's 2 zones that we are targeting, really along Dunlop Street between Clapperton and Mulcaster would be an area that we really need to work on. So I don't know if that helps a little bit, but I can tell you that the carts are really a great tool for us to know who's been registered for service and who we need to work on bringing them into compliance.
Thank you very much. My second inquiry is to Mr. Frary. And first of all, I want to say that I'm sure last year's winter you thought was a challenge with the ice and the snow, and this year, if you thought it was going to be a whole lot easier, it doesn't seem to be the case. So first of all, I want to commend you and your team for the incredible job that you have done on the snow situation. Mayor Nettle and I were talking briefly before the meeting tonight, and I've received like virtually 0 calls. People are starting to get it. Maybe others have, I'm sure. But I've got a lot of calls, but not necessarily about snow. So
I'm going to start calling you.
yeah, you should call me. Thank you. So anyways, thank you for that. I have got calls about garbage, coincidentally. So what I wanted to clarify, and it's funny because I'm back and forth and across Dunlop, dozens of times a week, and you'll come by or you'll get a call or someone will send you a picture, and I'll drive by a couple hours later and it's gone. All right. So I just wanted to confirm, because people ask me what is the process. Is it more of a proactive where we are actually driving, we have crews that are just going back once, twice a day, whatever, or is it based on calls from service barrier residents?
Mayor Nuttall and members of the committee. So right now it's a very reactive process. So what we ask people to do is call Service Barrie with your complaint. That helps us in 2 ways. It records the area where the most waste is, so we can kind of document that as well. Plus, they'll send the inquiry to the appropriate person, department. So whether it's environmental services or enforcement services, or if it's just general litter pickup, they will send it directly to us. So as you were saying with the winter, it's been extremely challenging for our staff. It's the same staff that are out plowing the roads and the sidewalks, etc. So when those calls come in, our 4-persons prioritize the work and their day. So obviously, we're not going to pull people, out of a snowplow to go pick up the garbage and things like that. But we will get to it, ASAP. It is a priority for us. And it's something, last week we had I think a 1-day break and we were able to get down there and do some cleanup. So we'll certainly get to things as soon as we can, but it's mainly just a resource thing right now. You'll probably notice in the summertime, things are done a little bit quicker, and we have more staff that we can do things that are flexible, because it's not a legislated service. It's not something that's safety related, which we have to attend to. So encourage folks just to call it into Service Barrie.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councillor Nixon. I've got Deputy Mayor Thompson, then I've got Councillor Morales.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Actually, there was something that Councillor Nixon brought up, and I was trying to refresh my memory. Does the BIA not employ people that are out cleaning the street as well? Do they still? Do they still have that service among the BIA employees?
Yeah, they have one gentleman who is kind of a part-time employee, does a lot of extra volunteer hours as well, who does go out and does things, but some of the piles are a little above his pay grade. There, it's something where you're going to need a pickup truck and a few people to do it, because it would take them all day. Yeah.
Thank you.
Councilor Morales.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. As you know, Mayor Nuttall, since 2023, I think I started bugging you about ways to better manage our waste than downtown. So to Ms. Mack, I love the line that you said about property owner accountability, a system of property owner accountability. My view is that the system's only going to work if we have the built form of waste management that is practical to use. And I'm speaking to the downtown core. I also heard some language that I'm going to just clarify. Maybe I'm being too hopeful of, maybe the right receptacles right now aren't working. Maybe we need to have locks. You saw that I actually perked up when you said that. Is there a short runway where the city is finally looking at doing semi-underground receptacle systems, also known as Moloch, but not limited to the company Moloch, for downtown core? Sorry, specifically for the BIA. We already have them along the waterfront.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall, to Councilor Morales. As we look at public space receptacles, kind of the next, like I said, the next journey, of course, semi-underground containment would be an option. I have, as we talk about what the future holds for those containers, it does come up. That is a type of containment that we're seeing put in place in other areas. I think what I am hearing, and this is just a preliminary assessment, is that the underground infrastructure downtown makes putting in semi-underground containment a little complex. But I would say that would be the journey we will go on as we procure the service and look at, what our streetscape needs down there and whether or not they would be practical. But there are some limitations to semi-underground containment, such as collection. We've talked about that. It makes collection very challenging. So stay tuned, I think I would say to that. But, we like to talk about containers and garbage, and we would be looking at all options.
Thank you for that. Just as a quick follow-up, the reason I bring it up is, again, I did kind of a quick white paper on this. I'm looking here at the data. I have it dated September 2023. You got a copy. The mayor's office got a copy. And this is just something I did research on myself. One large semi-underground waste containment system holds roughly the same volume as 44 of our bins of the large 240. Just to put into context, if we have a concern about visibility, the aesthetic of downtown, the marketability, one of these can hold the same as 44. Now, that then does move the accountability to having the property owners / tenants walk maybe 10 extra meters, right? We're not gonna put one in front of every property. So there's going to be a sort of decentralized yet centralized management system. And the technology already exists, and it has for over a decade, for having locks. If anybody lives in a condo and you have a fob, it's the same technology to ensure that the right user uses it at the right time. And it has been quite successful. So we're not yet at the trial stage. So I guess my question is, while there may be limitations, I didn't quite hear, and I know this is maybe not the forum to go into feet and this area, yes, and underground, and but has there been any exploration about maybe even doing a trial run? I heard there's already an appetite to do it, kind of focusing on areas in terms of enforcement. We're not going to take it our way out of this. There will always be bags if we continue going down the route of having a system of bags. There will always be those cardboard boxes that are kind of just lunged there. But with this system, this not only addresses waste, this could even address organics if we even wanted to go down that route. And it's semi-underground, so that takes care of a smell, road, and a whole bunch of issues. And then also for recycling. Has there even been an exploration at doing, so here's my question, a pilot program in areas that are lower hanging fruit in terms of infrastructure to see the success of this? Because, and it's in the BIA core, because we've already done this on the lakeshore and it has been extremely successful.
Through you, Mayor Nuttall. To clarify, the public space receptacles are for litter. So that's, the coffee cups and things like that. Communal waste collection downtown would require essentially a permit from the ministry to have multiple properties using a communal centralized containment system, whether it be semi-underground or dumpsters. That is a more complex question, Councillor Morales, in that it would change the way that we actually manage waste downtown. So for example, they would be considered transfer stations. As a follow-up, I'm pleased to send some information from the City of Guelph, who are actually piloting this right now. But what comes with centralized stations, containment, semi-underground, or dumpsters is usually monitoring, dumping, and a whole other, series perhaps of challenges. So I still believe firmly that automated cart collection was the way to go downtown, tucking them into places, getting that ownership of waste. The public space receptacles for litter, I think are something that we do need to work on, looking at different models for, collection, kind of from a big picture. Would be something that I think I would recommend that we kind of stay the course with the automated collection.
Thank you, Ms. Mack.
I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Any other questions from members of council for inquiries? Councillor Corser.
Thank you, Mayor Nettle. I wasn't going to, but I think I might. Just some clarification from staff, probably particularly Mr. Friary, regarding the shortage of salt is an ongoing conversation, but it's a shortage. The salt shortage is more than just putting it on a sidewalk in case of ice. There's greater impact across the city, especially with major and secondary roads and snow. Could you just speak a little bit about that?
Mayor Nettle and members of the committee. So if you go to the city's website under winter maintenance, we have two documents. One, a salt optimization plan, and another one, a salt management strategy. So but those two things basically will tell you how we do things, why we do things. Putting salt down everywhere is not the answer. We have source water protection areas within the City of Barrie. We take our drinking water from the lake plus wells. So they're identified in all of our plow routes. So, the vehicles know that if they're in those areas, they're not to use a lot of salt and stuff. So, there is a province-wide salt shortage, and it even extends into the states. So Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, they're all struggling to get salt. And, I feel very bad for the contractors because they're in the same boat. As a municipality, we are in the Georgian Bay Salt Purchasing Cooperative, so we get to the first of the line. Not only do we get first of the line, we get premium prices, so we lock in for 5 years. So our prices aren't going to go up like the contractors' prices are going up. So I can tell you yesterday we've got we had 16 truckloads, tractor trailer full of salt. Are we at a level that we're comfortable with? Not really. We would like to see, maybe 6,000 tons in there. Currently, there's probably 2,000 tons. So we're doing our best to manage through best practices. So, we've bought extra sand, and then what you do is you run it through a pug mill and you mix it to 6%. So that sand will have salt in it as well. So, we have snow school as well every year for our operators. So we know all the best practices, and we're doing our best to conserve the salt. So residents may see some snowpack from time to time. We still will be using salt on those arterials and secondaries, but we may, in between the salt usage, we may be using some of the mixture as well.
Thank you. I've been hearing rumors about that in the news and across Ontario, and I did not know about the States, but thank you for just filling in some more information for us. Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you for all the hard work that you and your team have been doing this year. Wow. I can't imagine. It must be very stressful and overwhelming at times, but thank you so much. Staff is amazing with that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Corser. Any other inquiries before we move on? I just have one before you have the announcement or the inquiry? Yeah. I'll go to you first, if that's okay, Councillor Harvey. One other thing I just really wanted to ask with the public use receptacles downtown, like we have a premier business in Barrie that makes these things. And like, if we need somebody to go over there to say, we need that, but it needs to function like this, like procurement be damned, don't tell them I said that. Like, let's just get the right thing down there, because I can't imagine how much money we're spending running around after people, jumping into our our garbage bins, throwing everything everywhere. They're getting the calls, right? We're getting a few calls, but they're getting the calls way more than we are. And it seems like just insanity on maybe 10 garbage cans. And I don't know what the procurement bylaws are related to garbage cans or any of these public receptacles, but it feels like if there's not something that we already procure that should fix the problem, that we should just send one of our team members over to Bush Systems and they should figure it out and get it done, because it is becoming a thing like I'm hearing more and more about. Unfortunately, see it as well. And staff, like, we can't pay a staff member to stand on the corner and wait for somebody to go and throw garbage out of a can. And chances are it's happening at 11 p.m. at night to 6 a.m. in the morning a lot of the time. So if there's a possibility of us just figuring that out, I don't know if it's a council decision, unless I guess it would be notwithstanding the procurement bylaw, it would be really, really, really great. That wasn't even a question. I went against our own rules. So you guys can throw that back at me next time I try to do stop the questions. Announcements.
Mayor Nadeau.
Deputy Mayor, do you have an announcement?
Mayor Nadeau, finish it with, is that a council thing?
I could, but I know what the answer is. Deputy Mayor, I'm going to go over to Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. Just a little while ago this afternoon, all of council saw an email come through with an update from Tourism Barrie with some fairly great and significant numbers that came out. So I think it's just important to highlight some of that information that was contained within the email that kind of glazes over the 2025 numbers. So throughout 2025, there was 998,199 people that stayed overnight in Barrie. 2/3 of that would be our hotel stays, and the other third would be Airbnb, along with visiting family and friends also. And when you look at the entire economic impact, it's $212,432,270, which is crazy numbers once I saw that. And then our occupancy rate has been averaging at 70.4% for the entire year. But during the Christmas season, we saw a significant spike, and it was up to 90% between the 26th of December and January the 4th. Now, this is where the numbers get really interesting, is the amount of municipal accommodation tax. So the final quarter, Q4, is not in yet. That won't be in until probably mid-February. But it looks like we're on track to be just over $2 million in 1 year. And because for the first 3 quarters, we're at $1,548,490. So I would anticipate, looking at those numbers, we should be just north of $2 million by the time the year's up. And with that, we have 1,125 hotel rooms throughout the city, with another 301 ready to come online later this year. So we've got 2 hotels that are currently under construction in Ward 7, one on Bryan Drive and another one on Mill Street. And then there's also a third one up on Lennox Drive in Ward 5, I believe it is. So a tremendous year, and obviously Tourism Barrie looks forward to having another really great year. And we've trying to maximize opportunities and recognizing that sport tourism is a significant attraction to our area. There's going to be a new visitor guide coming out, a new trail guide coming out, And they're also looking at maximizing any of those sport tourism opportunities, especially with the FIFA World Cup coming. Marketing Barrie as a destination to come and visit also should even bring up those numbers hopefully for 2026. I see the deputy mayor's waving there. He might want something to add. He probably didn't know he had a hotel coming in his ward.
He did. He actually told me 3 weeks ago there was one going there when we were talking about another subject. Deputy Mayor.
Actually, just I think Councillor Harvey is so excited with the information. The email wasn't sent to council, so it hasn't been made public. So I was. So don't tell me what I know about my ward. You didn't know that email. It's a 6-story
I obviously
building.
misread it. I thought it got sent to all of council. I stand corrected.
See, that's why people should watch the YouTube that we put on, because you never know when you're going to get the right information. No,
I was hoping you would go beep, 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 breaking news.
Apparently you need to be in the inn then, Deputy Mayor.
So just to clarify one thing, on the MAT tax, remember that 50% goes to city, 50% goes to Tourism Barrie, which covers all of their operations and any of the grants and things that they do. So don't expect that $2 million is coming into the city for the MAT tax. It'll be half of whatever that number is, which is still going to be a like 50% increase or 80% increase depending on where they land. But that means people are visiting our city, they're getting hotel rooms, and they're paying for Troubadour. So that we are thankful for. Now, Councillor Kungle, I know that you have an announcement. Who does not have an announcement this week? Anyone else have an announcement? It's a new thing in 2026. It's all new. No announcement from Councillor Kungle. Any other announcements, folks? None? Okay, I'm going to jump right in. And, okay, so the city is accepting applications for the Conservation of Built Heritage Grant Program. Deadline is April 1st. For more information on how owners of heritage properties can be eligible for up to $10,000 in funding, the information can be found at barrie.ca/heritagecip. In support of more affordable housing in Barrie, the city is reducing building permit fees for additional residential units. You can visit barrie.ca/ARU to get that information. Family Day fun activities will be held at the Circle at the Center and City Hall Rotunda this year, including a DJ party skate, face painting, and hot chocolate. Free drop-in activities are also being offered at Allendale, East Bayfield, and Peggy Hill Team Community Centers. For information about these days, please go to barrie.ca to our recreation portal. Circulation list. Any items on the circulation list from the December 24th? Well, folks, it was only Christmas Eve. We'll go to January 7th, January 14th, January 21st. Okay, so we're not going to come back into the council chambers after we break into in camera. And before we go, I just want to echo what's already been said. Dave, Mr. Friery, tough winter, right? And that's easy for us to say, right? I don't know, how best to say thank you to all of the employees, obviously from your team all the way to the street where people are cleaning the roads. But I do know that they are working an incredible amount of hours. And anyone who questions whether we have an incredibly hardworking group that is out in the street each and every day, I want to give you just a couple of key pieces of information. Not only are we, staffed up, but the staff that we have are also putting in massive overtime hours. In fact, I think there was 44 individuals out of 44 individuals who drive those gritters and plows, thank you, that are putting in overtime at the moment. And Some of them get as little as 4 hours sleep before they're back on the road. I can tell you, I work hard as my job. I don't do that. And it's really, really easy to say, well, why isn't this done or why isn't that done? It's really, really, really hard to be putting in those types of hours as consistently as they've had to this winter. And so I'm going to ask the community to really give some grace on this front. It's not an easy winter. We were at 7 feet in the first week of January, so that put us at 8.5, 9 now, something like that. Okay, which is like surpassing most of the last 10 years, right? So let's put some context around this. And, we hope El Nino will deliver a wonderfully warm tropical February, but we don't know what the answer is going to be. But those folks are there every single time, every time. It doesn't matter whether they're a City of Barrie employee or a contractor, they are called in and going out all times of day and night. So I do want, Mr. Friery, for you, and I had said to Ms. James Reed today, I would like to find a way to say thanks to those folks, because this is like, I went to dry clean, and the lady who helps me with the dry cleaner said, I'm 74 years old. This feels like when I was a kid, and I love it. And I said, okay, well, you and I love different things, but she said, I haven't seen it like this since I was a kid. And so, for the context of those who are like me and have moved here in the last 40 years, this is an abnormally large amount of snow this year. And we need to give grace, and we need to be grateful for how much work is being done. And if we're seeing a change in the snow loads between last year and this year, I think some of the questions, I spoke with Councillor Hamilton today about this, maybe some of the questions we need to ask after is, if we're seeing a consistent trajectory of higher snow loads, maybe it means we need to change what the expectation is, and therefore the resources delivered to it. But time will tell some of that, and we will work through that, making sure that it's accounted for. Is that right, Mr. Friery?
Thank you very much, Mayor Nuttall. Truly appreciate it, and I will be sure to pass that messaging along to staff. It truly does mean a lot. And to your point, I've never seen the snow pile that high in the backyard at the operations center, where we store all the excess snow. And I've been with the city for 29 years, and this is one for the record books for sure.
I was hoping that was salt I was looking at in the back, but apparently it was snow.
That's our we just called Tourist Barrie. We're going to have sledding down the hill.
Yeah, we should actually hold the Winterfest there. Yeah, that would be a move. Okay, with that, we're going to break to in camera in the Sir Robert Barrie room. Those of our staff complement who are needed for the library board conversation, we'll meet you there. But I can't do that without a motion to move in camera. So, thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll go with Councillors Kungl and Corser. All in favor?